Star Wars The Last Jedi, Vice Admiral Holdo and her relationship with General Leia Organa. And that's why we're talking today. This is Star Wars and Philosophy, also known as People of the Free Gift. And we do live streams every Wednesday through Saturday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. And we do uploads over the weekend as able. We cover Star Wars, as it relates to philosophy, we cover cults, and we cover the Bible going verse by verse. And so if any of those things interest you, you can go ahead and click that subscribe watermark anytime during this video, and you can connect with us. And if you want to be notified, click that bell. Even for more goodies up there, you're going to see cards that are going to be pointing to other videos, and in the description down below, you'll see links that'll link you to different Star Wars related material, especially ones related to this video, as I'm going to be taking materials from the Last Jedi Visual Dictionary and Art of the Last Jedi. And also in that description, you will find links to my other videos related to Star Wars. Go ahead and post your comments for the live stream, as well as if you're watching the replay, comments down below. I make sure I reply to every single one of those. And of course, give me that thumbs up if you like the content. So let's go ahead and jump in for today. So, like I said, I'm going to be taking my material from the Visual Dictionary for The Last Jedi, as well as the Art of the Last Jedi. And you got some clues in there that we didn't get by watching the movie, and that was the relationship between Vice Admiral Holdo and Princess or General Organa. I'm always going to call her Princess Leia. So let's go ahead and get into these facts. Top 7 facts that we did not get from the movie, but we get from these other guides. So fact number 1 is that she was part of the rebellion from the very start of the Galactic Civil War. And you may be wondering, how is that possible? Because I've never heard of her, never seen her, and I think they're writing her in now. It's kind of part of that whole revisionist canon type of thing that they can do by having these books and movies and comic books that flow along the same time frames, but they keep on bouncing back and forth, and they can add or take away anything they want to, it seems. And Vice Admiral Holdo is definitely one of those. And her relationship with Princess Leia then, and then General Organa as well. So she's been part of the rebellion. Now, the fact that, and this kind of got hinted at in the movie because she, Godspeed rebels, right? And they're bringing back the whole rebels. In fact, in another video, I'll talk about some of the things from Star Wars Rebels that I'm kind of getting, these little hints that they dropped in The Last Jedi and Rebels back then of maybe the direction that they're going with The Last Jedi. So she's been part of the rebellion since the start of the Galactic Civil War. Number 2, she's known Leia since their teenage years. And so these are long-time friends. And that's what you get, is this interaction between very long-time friends. She's only new to us, in other words. And, the reaction that we had towards her was kind of in relation to that. Number 3, she served with Leia in the Apprentice legislature in the Imperial Senate. And so as they're just from the very beginning of Leia's career, their Holdo was, they've been friends since teenagers. They followed the same kind of basic path. And the Apprentice legislature in the Imperial Senate was that path. And so that's the correlation, that's the connection between those two. And then number 4, she is the highest ranking officer still able to command. And if you've seen the How It Should Have Ended episode for The Last Jedi, one of the things Admiral Akbar, pushes her aside and says, sorry, seniority, right? Well, that's actually a fact that they got wrong. It was kind of funny, and I think all of us kind of wanted to see Akbar take that command, but at the same time, Vice Admiral Holdo was actually she had the seniority. She was the highest ranking officer, and she was aboard the other ship. She simply got on board the Radis and took the helm when Leia wasn't able to command. So number 5, she favors weapons carried by Gatalentan nobility. And I want to talk a little bit about this whole her dress. Okay, she obviously stood out, not just the hair, but the dress, and she stood out from the rest of the characters. And on the Resistance, especially because they're all in like shabby clothing, they're all in like military gear, kind of like the Rogue One type of feel. But then she comes and she's like in these flowing gowns and stuff like that, and you're wondering what in the world is that? Well, she comes from the nobility of her home planet, which is Gatalenta, and she dresses the part. And they actually flirted around with the idea of her dressing just like everybody else, but they felt like this helped her to stand out as a character and helped you to understand that that's the way she places herself above the rest. That's the way she takes her leadership possession. She carries herself with poise and dignity, and purple hair aside, but she carries herself that way. And she favors the weapons that are carried by the nobility. And also the bracelets that she had, this was kind of interesting because it was able to trace local star constellation patterns. And if you're wondering, how did she come upon Crate, or how did she come up with that plan? Now, it didn't really need to be that complicated because honestly, with the speed they were going, somebody pointed out they should have been able to look out the window and seen only one planet, and that would have been Crate. It would have been obvious where they were going if anyone was paying attention, but that bracelet could have been the thing that clued her in terms of the plot and where they were going, okay? And then also, number 7, Gatalenta is known for its poetry and tranquility and compassion of its inhabitants. And so it's a very peaceful place. And so now you have this person from a very peaceful place who has chosen a life of being involved with politics and involved in the midst of a galactic civil war. And now she's part of a rebellion into the resistance against the established order. And so all of those things are really interesting, I thought so. And so go ahead and put your comments, your questions, your critiques in the comments down below. And tomorrow we're going to be catching back up with our series, going through the cults, and we're going to be picking up with what is the allure, or what is the thing that keeps people captive with people like Charles Manson, David Koresh, Jim Jones, all these famous cult leaders. And so join us for that. Saturday, we're going to be picking it back up with our verse-by-verse study of the Gospels, and we're going to be back in John chapter 15 in the Upper Room Discourse, or as we've been calling it, the conversation on the way to the garden. And then, of course, some videos that I'll release over the weekend, probably catching back up with old sermon and apologetics and cults videos. And also, so catch us back next Wednesday. If you are, a Star Wars fan, we'll be picking up next Wednesday on the live stream, 2 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central, and 4 p.m. Eastern. So join us, and don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, and until next time, may His power be with you.